Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Cordelia Ontiveros, Associate Dean for Academic Programs and Student Services in the College of Engineering. Welcome to the 2014 commencement ceremony for the College of Engineering at Cal Poly Pomona. We are very pleased that you are joining us today in honoring this year's candidates. In just a moment, we'll begin the processional. The College of Engineering commencement ceremony is one steeped in academic tradition and pomp dating to medieval times. It is marked by the familiar academic regalia with the black of the gowns and mortarboards, the orange of the tassels, and the colors of the hoods having remained unchanged for centuries. The details of the gowns and the hoods are significant in themselves, and each of the candidates is wearing the academic costume appropriate to the candidate's accomplishments. Commencement from the College of Engineering is not only a recognition of academic accomplishment of the candidates, but also a rite of passage in which the engineering profession welcomes its newest members. While it is a happy occasion, it is also a dignified one, befitting the achievement of these candidates' new status of professional responsibility. Please help us to maintain the appropriate decorum, and as a courtesy to all, please refrain from using loud noisemakers. We thank you for your cooperation. We are now ready to confer more than 1,000 degrees in engineering and engineering technology this year. Mace bearer, valedictorian of the College of Engineering, faculty, and candidates, please begin the processional. Candidates for the master's degrees. Faculty and candidates of the Department of Chemical and Materials Engineering. Faculty and candidates of the Department of Industrial and Manufacturing Engineering. The faculty and candidates of the Department of Aerospace Engineering. Department of Civil Engineering. The faculty and candidates of the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Faculty and candidates of the Department of Mechanical Engineering. party. Will the audience, faculty, and candidates please rise for the national anthem? Mr. Jared Faree, please come forward to perform the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Please be seated. Let us recognize the singer of the national anthem, Mr. Jared Faree, for a wonderful rendition. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce the Dean of the College of Engineering, Dr. Mahyar Amusagar.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the faculty and staff of Cal Poly Pomona and the trustees of the California State University, I welcome the class of 2014 and their families and friends to this year's commencement for the College of Engineering, where we graduate the best engineers in the nation. So in the next 2 hours, you'll be doing a lot of cheering and applauding, but for now, please sit back, relax, and allow me to introduce the distinguished members of the platform party. From the back, Dr. Steven Garcia, Vice President for Administrative Affairs. Ms. Michelle Stoddard, Vice President for University Advancement. Dr. Douglas Freer, Vice President for Student Affairs. Mr. John McCarthy, Vice President for Information Technology. Dr. Masood Musavi, ET Department Chair. Dr. Francelina Neto, CE Department Chair. Dr. Ali Ahmadi, Aero Department Chair. Dr. Angela Shi, ME Department Chair. Dr. Behnam Bar, Associate Dean of the College of Engineering. Dr. Abdul Sadat, IME Department Chair. Dr. Phyllis Nelson, ECE Department Chair. Dr. Villapanur Ravi, CME Department Chair. Dr. Cordelia Ontiveros, Associate Dean of the College. Ms. Cherise Garrido, Senior Class Representative. Mr. Austin James Cole, Engineering McPhee Scholar. Mr. Steven Stepanik, California State University Trustee. Mr. Eddie Hardenstein, Honorary Doctorate. Dr. Martin Dembor, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. And of course, Dr. J. Michael Ortiz, President of Cal Poly Pomona. Thank you very much. Please be seated. I also want to welcome Mrs. Ortiz, our First Lady, joining us this afternoon. Mrs. Ortiz. This year's graduating class will bring us to almost 25,000 engineering alumni, 25,000. 1 out of every 14 engineering in California is from Cal Poly Pomona. And once again, we are ranked top 5 best public undergraduate engineering school in the country. We not only educate the most, but the best engineers in the nation. This is a proud legacy, and it is possible because of the dedication and enthusiasm of our faculty, our staff, and many organizations that support our college. Please join me in thanking them. As many of you know, President Ortiz has decided to retire this year. Dr. Ortiz has been a dedicated supporter of our college and truly recognized the importance of engineering on this campus. President Ortiz is not an engineer, but we're going to remedy this today by inducting him as an honorary engineer. I know it's a surprise to you, Dr. Ortiz, but would you please join me at the podium? Dr. Ortiz, on behalf of our faculty, staff, and especially our students of the College of Engineering, I would like to welcome you as an honorary engineer and present you with an engineering certificate and a college gift as a token of our appreciation. Dr. Ortiz. Thank you. So, Dr. Ortiz officially is an engineer now. Now, I would like to call on President Ortiz again for his welcome and introductory remarks. President Ortiz.
Thank you, Dean Amuzagar. Commencement. It's the moment our graduates and their families have worked toward for years. I earned my bachelor's degree some 40 years ago, and I remember that moment as if it was yesterday. Put down your phones and programs and take it in. You did it. Your college experience doesn't end today. The lessons you've learned, the friends you've made, and the challenges you've overcome will carry you throughout your lifetime. Stay connected, stay informed, and stay involved. And one way of doing this with Cal Poly Pomona is to join the Alumni Association. I'm retiring this December. That's no profit for me, by the way. I'm retiring this December, but I want you to know that we have something in common, and that is that we are both graduating or leaving the institution in our 75th anniversary year. Now, do you know what the 75th anniversary is? It's the diamond anniversary, so we're all diamonds. And your diamond is in the mail, by the way. I've learned that you can never reach a high point in your life alone. For me, I've relied on my wife, Betty Fay because she's from the South, to be a partner and a friend through all of our highs and lows. At Cal Poly Pomona, I've relied on the expertise of countless people that includes great faculty and staff on this campus, and the people like Sandy Davis, our newly retired executive assistant, who has worked with 4 of the 5 Cal Poly Pomona presidents. Commencement is made possible because of people like Teresa Navarro Rodriguez and Diane Carter and their dedicated team who put this commencement event together. Now, I want you to think back to your experience. You did not arrive at this point by accident. Through dedication and hard work, you have reached this pinnacle. But remember, no one has ever completed this journey alone. Many people, including professors and loved ones, have traveled with you and helped you along the way. How did they guide you, support you, encourage you? Graduates, please join me in recognizing the special people in your life by standing and giving them a well-deserved round of applause. As you move into graduate school or the workforce, head out with confidence. Cal Poly Pomona graduates have an edge. Our classroom experiences actually involve solving real-world problems. You have studied under experienced faculty. You have been immersed in one of the most diverse campuses in the nation. You don't just understand diversity, you've lived it. Now that the investment you made in your education will pay off many times over. In 2014 College Return on Investment Report, Cal Poly Pomona ranked 74th out of 1,300 colleges and universities. That puts us in the top 6% in the country. We are a regional powerhouse. Payscale.com found our return on investment stronger than local universities like USC and UCLA. As a matter of fact, we placed better than all of the UC campuses with the exception of Berkeley and San Diego. But you didn't have to pay that UC tuition, did you? Or the high price of a private institution. Did you know you didn't pay the full cost of your education? California taxpayers and university donors supported your education. At the end of this month, we will close the campaign for Cal Poly Pomona. Donors have given more than $150 million in gifts, pledges, and bequests to keep our university at the cutting edge. Do you know why they would give so much to Cal Poly Pomona? It's because they believe in you. They believe in your potential to succeed in the workforce and contribute to the greater good. Years from now, there will come a time in your life when you look back on your career and marvel at your good fortune. Remember those who invested in you, and consider paying it forward so that you too can pave the way for future generations. Today is your day. You have completed one of the most important journeys of your lifetime. As you consider your next steps, I urge you to head out with confidence. Seize the opportunities before you, because you have never been more ready. Congratulations to each of you.
Now I would like to introduce the senior class representative, Charisse Garrido, to present the senior class gift to President Ortiz. As a civil engineering student, graduating summa cum laude, Charisse is currently an intern for the County of Riverside Transportation and Land Management Agency, and she has been involved with Cal Poly Pomona's Society of Women Engineers for the past 4 years, this year serving as president. After graduation, Charisse plans to enter the workforce and pursue graduate studies.
President Ortiz, Dina Muzigar, members of the stage party, distinguished guests, and the fellow members of the class of 2014. Every year, the graduating class leaves behind something for the campus community. It's about leaving the university better than it was when we first got here. This tradition succeeds every year because of another tradition at CPP, philanthropy. The senior class gift is entirely funded by donations from graduating seniors. This is truly a gift from us to future students. Our gift will be to purchase and install electronic charging stations throughout campus study and gathering places. These stations will charge cell phones, tablets, e-readers, and even laptops. President Ortiz, I am honored to present this gift from the class of 2014.
Thank you, Charisse. I never would have thought 10 years ago that we would need charging stations. That just goes to show what you have to look forward to as you leave the institution. But this will be something that the students that you leave behind will certainly appreciate it. Thank you, class of 2014.
At this time, we have the pleasure of presenting the Julian A. McPhee Honor Award for Student Excellence, an award the university has given since 2002. Julian McPhee was the founding president of Cal Poly Pomona and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Due to his visionary leadership, we can point with pride to the nation's finest university and the principle of learn by doing philosophy. This special award honors a graduating senior who exhibits excellence in his or her academic endeavors. It is our pleasure to present the Julian A. McPhee Award to the Outstanding Scholar of the College of Engineering, Mr. Austin James Cole. Austin Cole earned a 3.96 GPA in aerospace engineering at Cal Poly Pomona and is a valedictorian of the College of Engineering. He also earned a minor in physics. Austin was a member of several organizations, including the Kellogg Honors College, the AIAA Student Chapter, and the Aerospace Engineering Honor Society, Sigma Gamma Tau. He also plays trumpet in the pep band and served as its president for the past 2 years. In his spare times, Austin was also part of the Association for Unmanned Vehicle System International, helping design autonomous aircraft. Austin plans to work in the aerospace industry for a few years before returning to school to pursue a master's degree. Austin is an exemplary graduate of our engineering program. Austin, we are proud by your accomplishment and we congratulate you. President Ortiz, would you please join us? Austin. Thank you, President Ortiz. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Steven Stepanek, a member of the California State University Board of Trustees. We are honored to have you with us today, Trustee Stepanek.
Thank you, Dean Muzigar. It's a pleasure for me to be here and to bring greetings to all of you from the California State University. I extend congratulations to all the graduates of the College of Engineering. As citizens and future alumni of the California University system, I encourage you to continue to support the university and its mission. Help keep the doors open for opportunity open to those students who follow in your footsteps. You're soon going to learn the real benefits of learning a degree from the California State University as you go out into the workforce. A workforce that depends so greatly on the more than 100,000 well-prepared CSU graduates that are going to be going out there and joining this year. Be proud that you're joining more than 3 million CSU alum as you cross the stage today. As a CSU graduate member of your community, continue to support the CSU by helping those in need and let them know how to get to college. Show them the road ahead. How to earn a college degree learning a college degree can be the most important step to a brighter future. Finally, as a graduate of the CSU, be an ambassador for our system. Let your friends, colleagues, legislators, and community know how important the CSU has been to you and how they can join you in supporting the California State University. Again, congratulations and best wishes to all of you. You're stuck with me for another couple minutes here. I now have the privilege to present our guest of honor today. If you read virtually any biography of Eddie Hartenstein, and you'll see the word pioneer. It is a fitting description of the man who revolutionized consumer electronics in the 1990s with the development of satellite TV, which forever has changed home entertainment. He remains a pioneer in his current role as publisher and chief executive officer of the Los Angeles Times, where he has shown unwavering determination to navigate a demanding and ever-changing media landscape. Continuing to quote from a citation, Mr. Hartenstein has left an indelible mark in the engineering and business worlds. From his work on the pioneer Venus probe for Hughes Aircraft back in the 1970s, to his leadership of the company's commercial satellite division, to his visionary role at DirecTV, to his steady hand and keen foresight at the LA Times. Along the way, he received his master's degree from Caltech, earned induction into 4 Halls of Fame, as well as membership in the National Academy of Engineering, and was presented a Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Science of Television Arts and Sciences. Those impressive accomplishments are rooted in his time as a student at Cal Poly Pomona, where he arrived in the late 1960s in the midst of the race to the moon between the United States and the Soviet Union. The university, with its learn-by-doing ethos and well-respected aerospace engineering program, proved to be a natural fit. And it was in the engineering labs and classrooms where he honed his critical thinking skills that would be the hallmark for his distinguished career. As President Ortega has stated, we say that our graduates enter the workforce ready to make a difference on day one. Eddie is the quintessential difference maker. In recognition of his accomplishments as a leader and innovator, the Board of Trustees of the California State University and California State Polytechnic University Pomona are proud to confer upon Eddie Hartenstein the honorary degree of Doctor of Science.
Thank you, Trustee Stepanek. Thank you, President Ortiz. Dean Amuzagar. Thank you, Academic Senate here at Cal Poly. Thank you, CSU Board of Trustees. Well, to have the president of my alma mater call me with the news of receiving an honorary doctorate is and was very near and dear to my heart. He bore witness to one of the very few times in my life that I was rendered speechless. No such luck for all of you here this afternoon. To the graduating class of 2014, congratulations. You'll soon learn, as I did shortly after leaving these hallowed grounds, that your ability to communicate effectively and just plain old playing nicely in whatever sandbox you find yourself in is as important in your life going forward as the engineering skills you've learned here successfully by witness of you being here today in these funny hats here at Cal Poly. Cal Poly Pomona has prepared you well, just as it did for me oh so many years ago. Success in life, much like being honored here today, cannot be completed without an equally strong counterbalance to the academic curriculum, work experience, and other attributes which collectively we call a career. That counterbalance, sometimes, as in my case, arriving better late than never, comes from the get ready now for alliteration for you English majors, happiness, humility, and heart, gleaned as if by osmosis, not here necessarily from your college professors, but from family and very close friends. For me, first, there were my grandparents and my parents, whose collective wisdom was so freely shared with me in lifetimes that spanned the dawning of the age of electricity, 2 world wars, the Great Depression, the birth and aging of rock and roll, and oh yes, putting our astronauts on the moon. Then there are 5 other very special people, 4 of which are here with me today, CSU graduates all, I might add. To my wife of 32 years, Kate, Cal State Long Beach, who through unconditional love and your own brand of alchemy transformed my hubris to humanity. To my sister Heidi, Cal Poly Pomona graduate, who couldn't be here today. To my sons Carl, CSU Fullerton, and Christian, and his wife Kate, and my daughter-in-law, Sonoma State University, with whose joyful presence I get to experience and view life every single day as they grow up and through the lens of their own unique and wise perspectives. I love you all. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Go Broncos!
Please join me in a very warm congratulations to Dr. Hartenstein. As a traditional part of our commencement ceremonies, we would like to recognize the program valedictorians of the College of Engineering. Each will stand when their name is called to be formally recognized. This year, we are pleased to honor these outstanding scholars. From Chemical Engineering, Alexander Griffin Coker, summa cum laude. Alex is a member of the Kellogg Honors College. After graduation, he will be working as a chemical engineer for Enterprise Automation in Irvine. Congratulations, Alexander. From Civil Engineering, Susan Grace Turney, summa cum laude. Grace is passionate about transportation and traffic engineering. She helped the Institute of Transportation Engineers in working with community members to address pedestrian and bicyclist safety. Grace now works full-time on traffic engineering and planning with Linscott Law and Greenspan Engineers. Congratulations, Grace. From Computer Engineering, Cameron Chitsas, summa cum laude. Cameron is employed by Panasonic Avionics, working on automation testing for Panasonic's in-flight entertainment systems. After graduation, Cameron will continue with Panasonic Avionics. In the fall, he will begin his master's degree in computer science at UC Irvine. Congratulations, Cameron. From Construction Engineering Technology, Jordan Lee Reynolds, cum laude. Currently, Jordan is employed at Ames Construction and has accepted a full-time position after graduation. Congratulations, Jordan. From electrical engineering, Victor Gunawan, summa cum laude. Victor is interested in chip and sensor design. Currently, he is working with Luxima Technology. He plans to pursue a graduate degree in the near future after obtaining some experience working in the field. Congratulations, Victor. From industrial engineering, Ariane Maristella, cum laude. Ariane was vice president for both the Institute of Industrial Engineers and the Honor Society Alpha Pi Mu. She interned for Watson Pharmaceuticals, Eaton Corporation, and Coca-Cola. After graduation, Ariane will join Prolacta Bioscience and will begin pursuing her next goal of obtaining a master's in business administration. Congratulations, Ariane. And the last one, from mechanical engineering, David B. Stark, summa cum laude. For his senior project, David has been conducting research in dimensional analysis and modeling techniques. After graduation, David plans to attend The Ohio State University to pursue a PhD in mechanical engineering. Congratulations, David.
Today is also a commencement of sorts for two of our own faculty. These faculty members, with a combined service of over 50 years, have decided to retire. We wish to recognize them and thank them for their dedicated service to this university. We wish them all the best. As I call your name, please stand up to be formally recognized. From the Civil Engineering Department, Professor Donald Cuduto. From the Industrial and Manufacturing Engineering, my department, Dr. Farouk Darwish. Today's mace bearer is Dr. Philip Rosenkrantz from the Industrial and Manufacturing Engineering Department. Dr. Rosenkrantz retired after many years of distinguished service to the campus. We truly appreciate his dedication and contribution to the university. I now call on Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Martin Dembour, to present the candidates for the master's degree. Provost Dembour.
Will the candidates for the degrees Master of Science in Engineering, Master of Science in Civil Engineering, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, Master of Science in Engineering Management, and Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, please rise. President Ortiz, I present to you the candidates for the degrees of Master of Science in Engineering, Master of Science in Civil Engineering, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, Master of Science in Engineering Management, and Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering. These candidates have completed the requirements for each of these degrees as prescribed by the State of California and the trustees of the California State University, and they have been recommended by the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona.
Candidates for the master's degree, you have heard the recommendation of the faculty of the College of Engineering of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. By the authority vested in me as president, I confer upon you the degrees of Master of Science in Engineering, Master of Science in Civil Engineering, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, Master of Science in Engineering Management, and Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, with all the rights, honors, and opportunities appertaining thereto. Congratulations. Please be seated.
Will the candidates for the baccalaureate degrees please rise? That's everybody. Now the master's degrees, sit down. baccalaureate degrees stand up, yes. President Ortiz, I present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering, Chemical Engineering, Civil Engineering, Computer Engineering, Construction Engineering Technology, Electrical Engineering, Electronic and Computer Engineering Technology, Engineering Technology, Industrial Engineering, Manufacturing Engineering, and of course, Mechanical Engineering. These candidates have completed the requirements for each of their respective degrees as prescribed by the State of California and the trustees of the California State University. They have been recommended for the degrees by the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona.
Candidates for the baccalaureate degrees. You have heard the recommendation of the faculty of the College of Engineering at California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. By the authority vested in me as president, I confer upon you the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering, Chemical Engineering, Civil Engineering, Computer Engineering, Construction Engineering Technology, Electrical Engineering, Electronics and Computer Engineering Technology, Engineering Technology, Industrial Engineering, Manufacturing Engineering, and Mechanical Engineering, with all the rights, honors, and opportunities appertaining thereto. Congratulations. In academic tradition, the student who has not yet earned a degree wears the mortarboard tassel on the right side. When the degree is conferred, the scholar moves the tassel to the left and joins a select company. In recognition of your new status, will each recipient of the baccalaureate degree please move your tassel to the left? Congratulations.
And you may now be seated. In just a moment, we will begin the March of the Graduates. Faculty members who will be hooding the master's candidates, please take your positions on the stage. Ushers, please take your positions to help marshal the candidates. The candidates for the master's degrees, please rise and come forward. As we proceed through the March of the Graduates, each graduate will have a picture taken by the professional photographers. Each candidate should approach the stage as directed by the ushers with your hood folded over your left arm. Stop at the reader table, proceed to the platform to receive your certificate and be hooded, and then recess down the center ramp and back to your seat again as directed by the ushers. We now begin the hooding.
John Ickes. John Ickes.
Alan Lai.
Masima Mohammadi.
Fat Du.
Brian David Wolf.
Anhero Asper.
Mariam Bogos.
Man Tan Huynh.
Nidam Aram Arayas.
Andy Tran.
Johannes Adana.
Ray Forrest Lucian.
Liliana Ayala.
Julie Yu Liu.
Victoria Shin Park.
Alejandro Candelaria.
Sanubar Musavi Agdam.
Juan Francisco Gutierrez.
Van Bu Tran.
Emmanuel de Guzman Alfora.
Jonathan Allen Novak.
George Joseph Gazan.
Manuel Valenzuela Higuera.
David Lars Berdahl.
Trisha N. Munoz. Paul Leon St. Pierre.
Yanwen Zhang.
Gagneet Singh Bhatia.
Oscar Locio.
Juan Raúl Egas Encalada.
Miriam Denghan.
Andrew Bamwesije.
Kaveh Maliki.
Naveed Hiravi.
Kiana Askari.
Tony Milad Soliman Yakub.
Paniz Amadi Talesh.
Sam Shin.
Saba Zenati.
Banafshe Mobara.
Andy Yang.
Dorsa Egbal Kitabshi.
Alfredo Gutierrez.
Stephen Cheng.
Amir Mohammed Damansuz.
Trevor Douglas Stark.
Matne Matsumian.
Bijan Maksudi. Davison Dunlap Wilson. William Eric Blanchard. Troy Michael Torres.
This completes the hooding of the master's candidates. Now we will proceed to the baccalaureate candidates. The baccalaureate candidates will come forward department by department. Each candidate should approach the stage as directed by the ushers, stop at the reader table, proceed to the stage to receive your certificate from your department chair, and then recess down the center ramp and back to your seat again as directed by the ushers. We will begin by awarding the degree Bachelor's of Science in Chemical Engineering. Candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering, please approach the reader tables and proceed as directed by the marshals. Now, please proceed to receive your certificates.
Casson Lett. Matthew Pui Hup Lee. Ryan Pack O. Jonathan Nye, magna cum laude.
Stephen Schoeniger, Kellogg Honors Scholar.
Manuel Silva Martinez.
Armin Kavurian.
Deanna Carter.
Alexander Griffin Coker, summa cum laude, Kellogg Honors Scholar.
Juan Antonio Rodriguez.
Tina Luke, summa cum laude.
Kim Tan Tran, summa cum laude.
Prakar Gupta.
V. Ngoc Din, magna cum laude. Fatin Hanani Ismail.
Tito Echeverria. Jason Hubert Rodriguez, summa cum laude.
Erica Justine Perez.
Wendy Tu Ha Win.
Luzmila Carolina Quilarquez.
Ayaka Subayama.
Jessica Olivia Lopez.
Gregory Ronald Barker.
Sarah Ashley Phipps, magna cum laude.
Jonathan Robert Ray.
Amina Razak.
Antonio Haudegui.
Jason Bradford Pagenkop, cum laude.
Puneet Kaur Soni.
Justin Michael Sujinda.
William Saeed Saraf.
Yensi Elizabeth Deras.
Matthew Atala Hilo.
Edmund Zarukian.
Brandon Carlos C.
Christopher Brett Carrillo.
David Theodore Prescott, cum laude.
Jackie Deeb, cum laude, President's Council Scholar, Kellogg Honors.
Zachary Weber Wrights.
Kenneth Brian Walton.
Andrew Clemens.
Cindy Yushin Pan.
Cornelius Stephen Saki.
Mauricio Alexander Paredes.
Lumbala Cabea. Adan Padilla. Lawrence A. Rabalon. Alanush Baghumian, magna cum laude. Naria Kasovrian, summa cum laude. Zorane Megardadishian. Vanis Mardian. And that completes the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. We will now begin the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering and Bachelor of Science in Manufacturing Engineering.
Robert James Lavoy.
Eric Liao.
Zaidulhar Metal.
Richard Hart Chang.
Constantine Kao Te.
Darren Michael DeWitt.
Trevor Reardon.
Leslie Chavira.
Kara Lene Bright.
Fabiana Artuno, cum laude.
Jason Nguyen.
Andy H. Lee.
Kang Lee.
Howard Ya Chin.
Josimark Grajeda.
Brendan Lamb.
Furman Hidayat Abdul Rashid.
Thomas Dinglas Alonzo.
David Mateo Jimenez.
Mark William Rye.
Vicente Rodriguez.
Arsalan Mazar Aktapakagi.
Michael Lee Davis.
Kevin Gerardo.
Omar Hatum. Orkun Baglan. Yanina Choi. Norberto Cruz Carrillo.
Mohammed Arif Zayim Badrul Kesiam.
Javier Molina.
Young J. Kim.
Daisy Cordova Vergara.
Paul Nava.
Shant Megardichian.
Alfredo Munoz Jr.
George DeBoer.
Robert Kenneth Whitsey Jr.
Daniela Rodriguez.
Minerva Munoz.
Jesus Gonzalez.
Samantha M. Baumstar, cum laude.
Edwin Wong.
Ariane Marie Marcella, cum laude.
Jose Napoleon Ojeda.
Crystal Lynn Shea. Jill Jennifer Conti.
Samit Hemal Huehuela Pandita.
Chang Woo Sun.
Jose Gerardo Cervantes.
Xavier Lopez.
Christopher Edward Nas.
Andrew J. Turnbull.
Nipun Asanga Mipage.
Nazira Muhammad Hazza.
Benjamin Anthony Peregrino. Ricardo Bernal. Christian Isaac.
And that completes the awarding the degree Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering and Bachelor of Science in Manufacturing Engineering. We will now begin the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering.
Austin James Cole, summa cum laude, Kellogg Honors.
Augustine Romo, summa cum laude.
Alexander Michael Crean.
Miguel Angel Maya.
Kave Kiai.
Roberto Carrillo.
Daniel James Goodwin, cum laude.
Edward Brian Guzman, magna cum laude, McNair Scholar.
Anthony Joseph Bruno.
Christian Armenta, cum laude.
Elisa Marie Anderson.
Luis Castillo.
Thomas Godfrey Knight.
Joel Toronis Espinoza.
David Levon Chalukian.
Ruben Vasquez. Thomas Lee Moore.
Miguel Angel Alanis.
Joseph Angelo Kayaki.
Muhammad Anifis Muhammad Noor.
Mikhail Makili DeJuli.
Mohammed Izzuddin Mohammed Johari.
Daniela Virginia Alvarez.
Vong Vu Nguyen.
Art Moises Blay Lumibao.
Maxime Bees, summa cum laude.
Diana Marisol Cruz.
Kyle Thomas Norberg.
Emmanuel Fernando Acuna.
Joshua John Nesbitt.
Joniel Brian Escuguera.
Joseph Angelo Stoddard.
Stephen Allen Corona.
Jeremy Anders.
Hirsch Shaw.
John Hoojun Lim.
James Leonard Koch, magna cum laude.
Austin Gant.
Danielle Lee Schroeder.
Miguel Enriquez, magna cum laude, Kellogg Honors.
Alejandro Osoria, cum laude.
Giuseppe Tonini, cum laude.
Mihai Pologia.
William Michael Bloom.
Juan Antonio Tinoco.
Jesse Leonard Perez.
Devin Serrato.
Ramesh Ganesh.
Daniel Rosguo.
Nikhil Ladva.
James J. Liu, cum laude.
Pablo Morga.
Jordan Alexander Quintana.
Samad Arastu.
John Dayton.
Andrew Karpman, magna cum laude, President's Council Scholar.
Matthew Allen Gann.
Matthew Philip Salkin.
Hovig Yerlarian.
Gerardo Ramirez.
Blynn Richards, cum laude.
Miguel Vasquez. George Galindo. Juan Acosta. Jainesh Indravadan Patel. Colin Sicard. Scott Douglas Klein, Jr. Hoxon Isfak Vega. Kareem Mateen Stevens.
And that completes the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering. We will now begin the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering.
Cherise Legaspi Garrido, summa cum laude.
Mary Ann Haynes, cum laude.
Susan Grace Turney, summa cum laude.
Emerald Mancia.
Kevin Lawrence Ferrer.
Mark Setiel Santa Maria Naira, summa cum laude.
Sam H. Tien.
Farisha Hawk.
James Christopher Ryder, magna cum laude.
Patricia Ortega.
David Spencer McDonald.
Jose Medina.
Gregory Nathan Paulson.
Davis Shang To.
Derek Einer Lindholm.
Dale Stoika, cum laude.
Alexander Manuel Jaramillo.
Stephen Joseph Henderson.
Andrea Christina Reese.
James Martinson Hensley.
Anna Karen Salazar.
Samuel Paul Wheeler. Kevin Brent Shannon.
Rahel Alamayo Mergesha.
Johnny Trong.
Sarah Mengesha.
Alexander Liu.
Philip Adrian Rodriguez, Kellogg Honors. Chandni Patel, summa cum laude, President's Council Scholar, Kellogg Honors.
Kevin Razanable Mock.
Janie Hahn.
Jonathan Burke.
Emily Louise Mantilla.
Shannon Irie Tynan.
Maribel Munoz Blanco.
Philip A. Flores.
Mark Felipe Tolivar.
Vu Ho.
Brian Dale Barnhart, magna cum laude.
Amir Hussein Kasfi.
Aaron Andrew Jones, cum laude.
Hein Young, cum laude.
Brian Sato.
Connie Sui. Blanca Marlene Calderon.
Teddy Wipagatavit.
Crystal Yvette Hutchinson. Mina Hanna.
Leonardo de Guzman Elog III.
Trishina Dakmia Robinson.
Kyle Stephen Bufo. Nancy Kazue Yokoyama. Kylie Danica Gonsalves, cum laude.
Abiyada Hadaz Aita Jalayan Sharani Cordes.
Franklin Albert Suarez, magna cum laude.
Emmanuel Rodriguez Cruz.
Christopher Graham.
Song Chong, magna cum laude.
Jacob Michael Johnson, cum laude.
Kareem T. Al-Hassan.
Kyle Hong Lau.
Mina Habib.
Tri Min Lee.
Joao Penaloza.
Matthew Wayne Peacock, cum laude.
Luis Vasquez.
Joseph Lozano Leon.
Luis Cerna.
Alexander Padilla Froning.
Angel Mendoza.
Michael Dale Phillips.
Dwayne Tran.
Noe Preciado.
Matthew Jordan Espinoza.
Jaime Garcia.
Colin Brown.
Joshua Jonathan Olmedo.
Corey Gardner Gear.
Eric Nicholas Salazar.
David Anthony Valenzuela.
Manuel Montufar.
Stephen Mendoza Jr.
Marvin Isaac Coe.
Arle Rodriguez, McNair Scholar.
Chris Koo.
Benjamin Kang.
Johnny Lugo.
Robert Koplek, cum laude.
Christopher Michael Casey.
Eduardo Diaz. Savannah Edwards.
Gabriel Jorge Banuelos, cum laude.
Joe Chengpong Lee.
Alan Cabrito de Leon.
George Yap. Daniel Alawisher Jr.
Nathan James Tortolot.
Luis Manuel Gutierrez.
Tim Feng.
Lawrence Hoha.
Lawson Ho.
Grant Avery Mitchell. Aaron Azizian.
Gibson Lee Fan.
Justin Lee.
Matthew Forrest Sittler.
Ilie Seye.
Stephen Foster Lamb, magna cum laude.
Raveen Maru.
Nicholas Zerman Moriak.
Sergio Mendoza.
Mark Schisler.
Jacob Robert Devers.
Alexander Lusa Wells.
Safi Maroon. Jason Nume.
Patrina Zen, summa cum laude, Kellogg's Honors.
Ryan Michael Gusliga.
Andrew Lindsay Hall.
Jeffrey Sue.
Chase William Keys.
Brandon Sean Wong.
Bassam Rayan McCarrum.
Roxanabel Perfecto.
Fabian Paul Aun.
Paul Rainier C. Nuval.
Hector Salcedo.
Yesenia Diaz.
Felipe Cifuentes.
Peniote Jojalis.
Anthony Bishoy Serapian Bichet.
Elizabeth Becerra, Kellogg Honors Scholar.
Andrew Cho.
Rene Alejandro Sandoval. Eric Jesus Sanchez. Ruil Angel Amusquela de Leon.
Ryan Lim.
Jinho Dennis Lee.
Samaya Williams, cum laude, McNair Scholar.
Rafi Dermangian.
Richard Wayne Alcala Jr.
Daniel Espinoza.
Zachary Snyder, magna cum laude.
George E. Olivio. Kellen
Kaylee-
Allen Kosovich, cum laude.
Kaylee Nicole Ashton.
Dominic Plata.
Brittany Noel Bear, summa cum laude.
Dylan Daniel Sanchez.
Travis William Taylor. Paul Benjamin Boyce, cum laude.
Kevin Norman Custado. Jeremy Paulson. Anthony Van Vu. Gregory V. Kelgian. And that completes the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. We will now begin the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Engineering Technology, Construction Engineering Technology, and Electronics and Computer Engineering Technology.
Tamara Dubuni.
Carlos Alberto Cordova Alvarez.
Jorge Rene Alvarez.
Sean Roy Sharma.
Candace Heather Norton.
Tim Sang.
Aaron Heenan Lemieux.
Kevin Richard Peroni.
Stephen Scott Davis.
Ricardo Theodore Pasquale Jr.
Samuel Powells Lloyd.
Shihan Chang.
Dean Lawrence Manley.
Jupiter Kim Bong.
Kevin Dewey Lock Dim Pham.
Pablo Manuel Camano.
Brent Ryan Flansburgh.
Jose Carrillo.
Maurice Michael Fabros.
Joshua Jordan Machado. Joseph Anthony Gunawan.
Samuel Lee.
George Enrique Perez.
Charles Lewis Kirschner.
Antonio Enrique Chitai.
Yusang Wang.
Robert Benjamin Fish. Michael de Guzman Valenzuela.
Peter Ton Lee.
Chris Chu.
Thomas Jack Wong.
Christopher Romero.
Zachary Shane Salas Santos.
Sochith Mar.
Ryan Noburu Kubota.
Nicholas Bailey Myers. Imran Omar Mumtaz.
Rafael Antonio Lopez.
Ashkan Hekmat.
Martin Granados Jr.
Dimitri Sunny Sunyan.
Belong Vang.
Jared Scott Roy.
Alan Sosa.
Abbas Ismail.
Christian Regosa.
Randy Yu. Ruben Alvarado Jr.
Andrew Jerome Fernandez.
Robert Chuang.
Alan H. Ho.
Victor Alfonso Cabral.
Thomas Taylor Van Aken.
Esteban Sanchez.
Jesse Renee Sagoon.
Brian Ismael Rodriguez.
Jordan Lee Reynolds, cum laude.
Jason Giovanna Saldana.
Alejandro Milan.
Bernice Palomino.
Brent William Meyer.
Nathaniel Joseph St. Clair, cum laude. Ezekiel Torres Cortez II.
Brittany Bianca Rojas.
Miguel Angel Salgado.
James Bijan Bauman.
Julio Alfonso Rodriguez.
Anton Sanders.
Ricardo Oleguez.
Michael Lorenzo Ortega.
Adam Israel Ortiz.
Kevin J. Gutierrez.
David Gerardo Hernandez. Jillian Christine Betts.
Ryan James Orozco.
Ryan Joseph Potts.
Matthew David Lake.
Ulysses Lomelli.
Donna Elise Baldy.
Ryan Lee Sitton.
Amy Michelle Chavez.
David Johnson.
George Salazar.
Adrian Campos.
Travis Robert Young.
Edgar Martinez.
Tyler John Young.
Giovanni Escutia.
Timothy Paul Crowder. Rizwan Hussein Shah.
Avo Tungurian.
Sean Robin Suhu.
Cesar Augusto Hernandez. Jorge Rivera. Karina Madrigal. And that completed the awarding degree Bachelor of Science in Engineering Technology, Construction Engineering Technology, and Electronics and Computer Engineering Technology. We will now begin the awarding the degree Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering and Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering.
Alexander Ryan Baldwin.
Jesse Wayne Taylor.
Marlon Salvador Ortiz.
Orr Carney.
Fabian Rodriguez.
Ivan Dale Bravo.
Yat Fei Ing.
Mandy Chu.
Jordan Muegna Giuliano.
Marlene Torones.
Michael Hashash, magna cum laude.
Javane Tagapoon.
Jaisal Shah.
Christine Ray Tan Arlar. Ian Davidson McElrath.
Cameron Chitsa, summa cum laude.
Akbar Ilas Lakhani.
Nicholas Anthony Farner, magna cum laude.
Garrett Wesley Porter.
Robert Benenian, cum laude.
Ryan Jesse Cavarruias.
Alan Kachikian.
Boris Alonso. Justin Felix Shen.
Quillen Douglas Reed.
Cliff Chang.
Edward Zamora.
Garmin Zhang.
Joshua Aaron Lawrence Jacobs.
Marta Winata.
David Mingdao Chow.
Sergio Perez. Ellison Daniel Gattas.
Calvin Gove.
James Hernandez.
Elvis Orly Gieler.
Joshua Matthew Serjono.
Avis Kirakosian.
Shay Ishmael Salahu.
Troy Stephen Nahera.
Jose Simon Barrios.
Robbie Cruz Soriano.
Bart Gerald Sanchez.
Leo Rey Herrera Belicano Jr.
Shailesh Kumar Sujanani.
Stephen Song, cum laude.
Bhavik Shah, cum laude.
Ming Yu Chen.
Jamie Carolyn Hoffman.
Neil Inim Win.
Michelle Martinez de Murga.
Joseph Aaron Brockett, magna cum laude.
Isabel Madamba Alfonso.
Glenn Joseph Cataroja.
Roger Toy Kwan.
Daniel Farthing, magna cum laude.
Abram Philip Largoza.
Sean Adel.
John Feria Torona, cum laude, Kellogg Honors Scholar.
Matthew Egan.
Corey A. Kleinsmith.
Daniel Rodolfo Briones.
Bradley Bischoff.
Eric Scott Emerson.
Alexander Patrick Greb.
Luis Gerardo Briceno.
Barry Samuel Langer.
Victor Gunawan, summa cum laude.
Ethan Chow.
Zach Polly.
Richard Eric Lavis.
Kevin McGiffin.
Kenneth Robert Pelcher.
Russell Apollonio.
Jonathan Vargas Sanchez.
Matthew Thomas Elam.
Kang Soy.
Adrian Damian Hernandez.
Andrew Nguyen Din Doan.
Joshua James Schneider.
Michael Angel Albuin Villagomez.
Jose Luis Cervantes.
Anthony Malian Kalipi. Jesus Guzman.
Dang Tran.
Matthew Giovanni Carrillo.
Michael Tien Long Pham.
Jeremy Joseph Pangilinan.
Waiwut Arun Sangsai.
Jed Avril Lavente Villanueva.
Edward Andrew Dizon.
Michael Patrick Quaresma.
AJ Singh.
Owen Chin.
Daryl Payton.
Patrick Trin.
Aaron Castellanos, cum laude, President's Council Scholar, McNair Scholar.
Andy Cow.
Victor M. Perez.
Kevin Donald Brooks, magna cum laude.
Derek Sorensen.
Daniel Kiefle.
Daniel Frederick Nelson.
William Gunawan.
Sajan Bhupendra Bhakta, magna cum laude.
Brent Spencer Lukemeyer.
Matt Easton.
Bill Wang, summa cum laude.
Brian Scarberry, summa cum laude.
Tuan Min Yun.
Nicholas Joseph Dunn.
Ivan Kong. Tuan Nam.
Lok Nguyen.
Di Hyun.
Michael Fader.
Derek Michael Emmanuel.
Shotaro Goto.
Alfonso Perez, cum laude.
Jason Kent Duncan, magna cum laude.
Wilson Chu. Dao Pham Tran. Alan Ung, cum laude.
Diego Silva.
Leo Pashian, cum laude.
Emil Gogonian.
Arabo Garabian.
Omar Ahmad Itani.
Sarah Skidmore.
Vincent Gabriel Ambon Singzon.
Ryan Jacob Strobel, magna cum laude.
Francisco Javier Cervantes.
Zhang Quan He.
Jose A. Beroteran, magna cum laude.
Jonathan Young Tom.
Jose Fernando Gutierrez.
Oscar Martin Caroli III.
Raymond Ho.
John Paul Passis.
Andrew Joseph Selfridge.
Omar Garcia.
Harold Jude Reyes.
Shiv Gupta.
Matthew Michael Sylvester.
Joshua Anthony Perez.
Jimmy Zhang.
Joseph Timothy Javahardashti.
Kenneth Michael Snyder.
Jason Fan.
Tao King Portugal.
Stephen Chin.
Gabriel Cooper.
Timothy Matthew Soy Jr.
Ryan Randall.
Todd Moy, cum laude.
Michael Timothy Jenkins.
David Andrew Johnson, magna cum laude.
Ruben Bobadilla Robles.
Clay Alexander Purcelli, summa cum laude.
Jason D. Lockenmeyer.
Kent Joseph Judy, cum laude.
Robert Orozco. Michael Alberto Montalvo Castro.
And that completes the awarding the degree Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering and Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. We will now begin the awarding the degree Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering.
Daniel Joseph Piccinini II.
Sean Alfred Blanco.
Richard Daniel Rodeback.
Paul Sandoval Jr.
Catherine Elizabeth Siemens.
Jeff Ryan Ruggiero.
Bethany Anita Weber.
Christopher Eugene Chargay.
Russell John Crouch.
Daniel Albert Wohlstrom.
Michael Lee.
Keith Conrad Barton.
Parham Kansari.
Shane Stephen Anas.
Tho Din Tran, summa cum laude, Kellogg Honors.
John Heck.
Frederick Douglass Lyon.
Patrick Troy Manion.
David B. Stark, summa cum laude, Kellogg Honors.
Nicholas Correo.
Donald Thomas Logston, summa cum laude.
Armando Ayala.
Nicholas Ciccone Morand.
Jonathan Sidney Wells, summa cum laude.
Michael Frank Robinson.
Matthew Thomas Haskup.
Frank Monroe Rhodes II.
Michael P. McKinney.
Austin Wade King.
Scott Edward Hitoshi Gussman.
Krunal B. Ladd.
Alexander Michael Bilavyets, magna cum laude.
Anuj Patel.
Narbe Arakilian.
Sinjin Hippolito.
Stephen Benson Lee.
Emmanuel Casalino.
Patrick Canlis Manaleo.
Kevin Andrew Martin.
Luis Humberto Lopez.
Kyle Edward Graves.
Emerson Mario Mendoza.
Christopher Yoshizo Otani, magna cum laude, President's Council Scholar.
Ricardo Hernandez.
Eric Savengrit.
Daniel Eduardo Garcia.
John Nguyen Tran.
Keith Chrisman. David Felser.
Ryan William Bowers.
Ahmed Murad Harara.
George Brandon Carson. Stephen Sven Colby. Christian Peter Morales.
Charles Lowry. Michael Charles Hamsick.
Raymond Mars Fall.
Nathan Eric Y.
Michael Paul Jensen.
Kevin Tang.
Jonathan Christopher Gianu.
Matthew Ryan Hollis.
Matthew Patrick Shekels.
Timothy Howard Tam.
James Michael Valencia. Nicholas Hussam Cubain.
Mohammed Farzan Kairul Fazi.
Stephen Paul Smith.
Rosalina Sapia Hussein.
Devin Bruce Geddes.
James Lynn, magna cum laude.
Kevin Christopher Hydorn.
Justin Dong Yul Kim.
Matthew Kevin Adel.
Kenneth Edward Nakashini.
Andrew Joseph Martins.
Scott Matthew Reddle.
Matthew Thomas Pacheco.
Brett Tuthill.
John Christopher Prevel.
Amir Brandon McGinnis.
Jose Guardado.
Michael Anthony Grande.
Samuel Christopher Johnson.
Yuri Bazilev.
Robert Aldrin Verde Cabales.
Evan Tyler Stewart Marquardt.
Kevin Bradley Weber.
Christopher Michael Muniz.
Paul Andre Wildman Miranda. Wesley William Gunter, summa cum laude.
James Robert Heidenring, cum laude.
Christopher Jason Marin.
Christian Pineda Borja.
Jonathan Frederick Hoy, magna cum laude.
Andrew Yi Tran.
Michael Gabriel Relic Jr.
Jong Kyung Cha.
Nader Jamal Sharif.
Eric Duong, Kellogg Honors Scholar.
Craig Allen Bennett.
Brian Westfall.
Kakeru Fujikawa.
Miles Villanueva.
Felix Danilo Monteroso Alvarado.
Eric Hiramitsu Giotokoko.
Justin Kyle Bostwick.
Timothy Carlo Vasquez.
Elard Mesa.
John Chun.
Rafi Ul Karim.
James H. Lee.
Samuel David Halstead.
Alejandro Vera Montes.
J. Bijan Jaffapur.
Yaham Polyage.
Scott Alexander Richter.
Ashley Alessandra Davis.
Mario Ruben Ortega, cum laude.
Safat Muhammad Kazi.
Jacob Michael Goring.
Andrew Anthony Scott. Eric Chan. Denny Dominic. Abluster Gama. Jason Flores. Chelsea Gabriella McGurk.
Jesus Sandoval.
Brock Matlove Barker.
Alex Changwon Kim, cum laude.
Charles Jacob Lozano.
Michael John Nguyen.
Stanford Shi.
Bryce Norman Whitehead.
Nicholas William Gernack.
Jonathan Michael Marr, cum laude.
Sun Jin Kim.
Sean Michael Geyer.
Roy Lee Allen, magna cum laude.
Alexander Sang.
Theodore Matthew Siegel. Garrett Arthur Susi, summa cum laude. Christopher Michael McNamara. Abdon Hernandez Jr. Miguel Angel Rodriguez, magna cum laude. Eric Mora. Michael James Hernandez. Adam Ryan Macias. Lizette Macias. Stephen Philip Wan.
That completes the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. That also completes the awarding of the degrees to the class of 2014 from the College of Engineering.
Class of 2014, I welcome you as our newest alumni. Please remember that wherever your future takes you, we sincerely invite you to remain connected to the College of Engineering. President Ortiz, parents, and distinguished guests, I would like to introduce to you our newest Cal Poly Pomona alumni from the College of Engineering. As we conclude, I ask the graduates to give one more big cheer. Ladies and gentlemen, actually, it was a good cheer, but it wasn't that good, really. In fact, chairs behind me were telling me, you guys really sound like Cal Poly slow. So let's try again and show President Ortiz what Cal Poly Pomona engineers can do. Go. Now, that was good, yes. Thank you. That was good. Thank you. Please be seated now. Dr. Rosencrantz, please retrieve the mace. Faculty and graduates, please remain in place until directed to join the recessional by the ushers. We ask the audience, please remain seated during the recessional. At the conclusion of the recessional, our 2014 commencement ceremony will be formally concluded. Thank you for being with us. Have a wonderful summer.